schools reopening. But previously, the Prime Minister was talking about being a teaching unions and teachers who were stopping it happening, didn't want to go home, they were worried about road safety. Is that still an issue? Thank you very much, Camilla. Good to talk to you. What's your view of this? Are you a teacher or a parent who's affected by this? How keen are you for schools to be made the priority? Was it a mistake, in fact, to do things the other way around? Was it a real confusing priority to put pubs first ahead of schools? Looking back, thinking about it now, it seems like a really bad idea. But given that, there probably are a similar risk for both big indoors and unlikely to be without masks. What's your view of this? 0345 6060 973. Let's text coming in this as well. That's two tweets as well at LBC. And let's talk now to John Bowles, who's the former Ofsted lead inspector and independent education consultant. Joins us now. John, what's your thinking about this then? Is there a moral duty to keep schools open?
Children are not having a common experience over the summer. It's always the case that highly educated parents who've got money and time will pour their own education into their children from birth. I know every large number of people are doing this, including a couple of ministers actually, that I know personally. So these things happen. Parents who don't have that education and who don't have that money and who don't have that space are in a dreadful position. And that's why their children tend to move back to summer holidays. Whether or not there's a COVID issue and getting them into school, they have told possible and obviously when it comes to safety, it should be a first priority. I agree with the Prime Minister on this wholeheartedly.
How do you ensure that something like a classroom is safe? I mean, you can't really. You can make it as safe as you can, but it's never going to be ideal, is it?
It's not perfect. It certainly isn't. And I am all for moving with all the phrase all deliberate speed. I'm afraid to do it with their building. And their building, believe me, is very, very packed. And other schools can if they want to. And I'm afraid that on some slightly tough issue with Camilla, I think the unions are still trying to stonewall on this. And this stonewalling is not helping anybody, including the unions. Their members, I think, want to work. They want to work safely, but they want to work. And I think we are
There is the risk of spreading the disease now. Obviously, it was less than it was. But in the scheme of things, I mean, it's like a classroom full of people.
remove certain responsibilities from local authorities in respect of looking after children simply because it wasn't possible to carry them out. And that situation can't be allowed to continue. We're considering, and in fact this is one case that I know of directly, of a child who wouldn't get out of bed, wouldn't eat, had to be taken directly to hospital while the other two children were taken into care. You get an idea of the seriousness of the situation. We tend to think of Dickens as 19th century, but one thing that we have and that Dickens didn't have so much was drugs.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that is a very interesting and worrying part of this. But the other part of it that I can't help thinking about is the actual educational side of this. That
Yes.
is there going to be a whole generation now that are going to be permanently damaged? At least some of them that they won't really ever catch up.
This is LBC blessing. I'm also grateful to the vast majority of you who are looking out for each other by wearing a face covering. Police and enforcement teams are working to ensure everyone does this. We are doing all we can to keep things safe, clean and organised. After all, we're here to help all Londoners. To find out more, search TfL Restart Plan. To the Mayor of London and TfL, every journey matters.
A nice weekend, a nice walk, a nice relax on the sofa. Is nice what you really want, or is nice not satisfying you? You're always thinking, can I do more? Life as an RAF reserve can satisfy that urge. With life-saving mountain climbing, truck driving, helicopter flying weekends. So when Monday comes and Jackie asks what you've got up to, you can say you've had more than just a nice weekend. There's a role waiting for you right now. Search RAF Reserves. Find your force.
Say hello to summer data deals at Vodafone. Get the Samsung Galaxy S25G with double data. 48 gigabytes for the price of 24. For £51 per month plus £19 up front. Just one of the amazing offers in the Vodafone summer data deals. Switch to the UK's best mobile data network, online or in store. Ready? Vodafone.
Ends 3rd of September, 24-month plans, 5G subject to coverage, RPI increased credit check terms and award verification apply. See Vodafone.co.uk.
Normally, I'd be recording this in a fancy sound studio with a mocha frogger skinny latte. Instead, I'm in my bathroom. Technology means I can wander around my house reading this script, and people can take a wander around yours with Purple Brick's virtual viewings, or they can safely view it in person if you prefer.
Do you want a cup of tea, love?
Can I get a mocha frogger skinny latte? Tea's fine, thank you. Book your free valuation with Purple Bricks.
Fixed fee payable on instruction or after 10 months. Viewing service cost extra.
Getting in the car on a cold winter's morning, you don't even want to touch the steering wheel. And by the time the car's heated up, you're already at your destination. At Honda, we listen to the chattering of teeth, and we made an app for the new Honda E, so you can control your car remotely, warming it up while you eat your toast and checking its charge while finishing your coffee. The new Honda E. Honda, the power of dreams. Live call on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
LBC, I'm Clive Ball. We're talking about schools at the moment. Boris Johnson says it's a national priority and a moral duty to get all pupils back to the classroom. Is he right that pubs, restaurants, shops, if it comes to it, they should shut down first? Schools must be a priority. What do you think? Lois in Hartford, hello.
Hello.
Hello, what do you think about this?
So I'm a teacher and I definitely agree that schools need to be the priority to come back. They should have been anyway right at the beginning of this. Children, so of course the economy is really important to get that going, but children just don't have the capacity like mentally to deal with this situation as well as adults do. You know, they're not just losing their education, they're losing their routine, they're losing their friends, they're losing, for lots of them, a reason to, to be going to school. They're losing so much other than just their education. And I hear lots of people saying like, teachers, they just do enough. I mean, my school, from my point of view, we did so much. We were on Google Classroom every day, uploading daily lessons. But what lots of people don't think about is the fact that we also have children at home. I had a 2-year-old running around while I was trying to teach.
Yes, I think, well, we seem to have lost Lois. We'll get Lois back, and I'll just mention Annie, who's texted in here. Clive is an overweight, over 50-year-old granny. I'm watching the Scottish return to school in 3 days with concern, as like many grandparents, I help with childcare. I avoid shops, pubs, restaurants. Those should all close before schools do, purely to protect teachers and carers. Lois, we've got you back. I mean, can I just ask you about that point, though? That if we, are you saying that we should have had schools open all the way through, or do you accept that there wasn't?
I mean, schools
they had to
weren't
be closed?
open all the way through. Not,
Well,
okay, they weren't open to all pupils, like, I agree with that. And no, I don't think schools should have been open
she experienced being stopped by police in Hackney. The Met have now issued a statement, and I will just, to update you, read this out now. This is the Met Police statement on that incident. They say, at approximately midday on Sunday, the 9th of August, police stopped a vehicle in Hackney. Prior to stopping the vehicle, an officer incorrectly entered the registration into a police computer, which identified the car as registered to an address in Yorkshire. Upon stopping the vehicle and speaking with the driver, it quickly became apparent that the registration had been entered incorrectly and was registered to the driver in London. Once the mistake was realised, the officer sought to explain this to the occupants. They were then allowed on their way. No searches were carried out on any individuals. One of the occupants has since been contacted by a senior officer, and they have discussed the stop, subsequent interaction, as well as feedback regarding the stop. We would welcome the opportunity to discuss this matter further with the occupants if they wish to do so. So that's the Met response to Dawn Butler, who was unhappy about being stopped by police in Hackney with a friend in a car. We'll bring you more on that as it comes into us, and we'll take more calls on schools. 0345 6060 973 is the number. 6:30 on LBC. The news headlines with Tim Humphrey.
A Labour MP has called for the resignation of Met Police Commissioner Cressida Dick. Dawn Butler has accused officers of racially profiling her and a friend when they were stopped in a car in East London this afternoon. The country with the most coronavirus cases in the world, the United States, has recorded its 5 millionth infection. More than 160,000 people with COVID-19 have died there. 1,062 new coronavirus tests have come back as positive in the UK today. It's the biggest daily rise in infections since late June. And the weather very warm in the south again tonight. Scattered showers and thunderstorms developing over parts of England and Wales, and perhaps spreading into southern Scotland. Temperatures there dipping to 9 degrees.
This is LBC.
Now you can gift your Vodafone Very Me rewards to a friend.
This is Meg, Amy, Beth and Joe.
Gift films including Little Women, Peter Rabbit, Spider-Man Homecoming and Bad Boys for Life, all streamed from Chile. To anyone on us. Yes! Or you can keep them to yourself. Gift or keep your rewards at vodafone.co.uk/verymerewards. Ready? Vodafone.
Ends August 19. Redeem for one film rental. To unlock Very Me rewards, pay-as-you-go customers must top up £10 minimum every 6 weeks.
COVID-19 continues to impact our lives, but with filtering face masks and washable, reusable face coverings from trustedppe.co.uk, you can help protect yourself and others from the virus. Order before 4 p.m. weekdays for same-day dispatch from trustedppe.co.uk. Rated excellent on Trustpilot.
What have you missed the most about eating out? Going out with friends and family for a quick bite? Trying somewhere new or returning to a local favourite? Someone else doing the cooking for once? Not doing the washing up? With Eat Out to help out, get up to £10 off per person every Monday to Wednesday throughout August. Enjoy the moments you've missed the most, and let's enjoy restaurants again safely. Visit gov.uk/eatout to find participating restaurants near you.
This month at Selco Builders Warehouse, we've got a wide range of real deals. Like 15 litres of paint and trade simulated paint in either brilliant white or magnolia for just £20.99 ex-VAT. Now that's a real deal. Find even more real deals at Selco Builders Warehouse and online at selcobw.com. 28 branches across Greater London. Visit selcobw.com.
Tell us a bit more about that then, because I'm sure some people listening will think, well, hang on, how can it be that dangerous to be social distancing? Surely it's in everybody's interests to keep children in little groups, in bubbles, and so on. What's the damage in that then, from your point of view?
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think the point is, there's 2 points really. The first is that we shouldn't be applying the same principles to children as adults, and Longfield, who's the Children's Commissioner, has come out and spoken very eloquently about that. You know, every week that goes on now, there is a new study or series of studies showing that children are only minimally involved in the transmission of this. So applying the same kind of measures that we have for adults to them begins to feel more disproportionate. Specifically as regards distancing, if you're stopping them interact normally, you're stopping them playing. These are things that are really important for children, and they're really important particularly for young children. You know, and it's not called for by the current weight of evidence. And the study that's just come out today, I think we've been referred to, a study of 100 schools, which again shows it's very hard to find evidence of transmission in a school setting. I think we would just say these measures are disproportionate, they're damaging, and they're not needed.
So you think it could be sort of psychologically damaging for children if they're not playing together in groups?
Yeah, I mean, it's not me, by the way, that thinks this. I mean, I'm just a parent. There are, if you, there's a great site called reachwell.org, and this has a series of briefing papers by some of the leading child psychiatrists and psychologists in the country saying just this. And if you look at things like the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child, you know, it states very clearly there that the right to play and interact normally is something that's enshrined in the UN Convention. These are things we thought were important. And I think what we are saying is, before we throw them all out of the window, you know, let's ask, are they really needed? And from the beginning, we've said that as regards children, no, they're not, because children don't transmit, or only minimally transmit.
So, I mean, my feeling is that what will probably happen is schools will pretty much go back to normal. Most schools don't really have the facilities. They haven't got the space anyway to distance themselves out. And what I see happening in real life is that people are doing their own interpretation of social distancing rules. So children are already out back in playgrounds, interacting with each other, just as they always were. I would have thought that's going to be the situation in schools, whatever the official rules